Hello guys and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about the Shadowmonk, and there's a lot to talk about. As you can see, we're going to go through companions, early game, feats, essential items, and various builds that you can end up with. So let's get straight to it, since we have a lot to talk about.
You cannot pick that doll.
No.
Cannot pick that doll.
You
Cannot pick that doll.
No, he's
Cannot pick
sleeping.
that doll.
So what I would recommend is that you either use this for Astarion, Karlach, or Shadowheart. So Astarion, once he ascends, other than getting the vampires, he gets the vampire's ascendant ability, which essentially allows him to do 1 to 10 extra necrotic damage on every unarmed attack. And he gets the ascendant bite, which is a bonus action that does a lot of damage and makes him happy, right? So Happy gives a +1 to ability checks, to attack roll, saving throws, and ability checks. So again, very strong ability to have. Karlach comes second with soul coins, dealing extra 1d4 damage, and Shadowheart getting that free bless, permanent bless, also is very useful because it's going to increase your chance to hit. But again, from all of those, I prefer Astarion is going to be the strongest one. Now, guys, if you want to see more of it, like and subscribe, and comment Darkness Party in the comments to make a party that fully relies around darkness. In the early game, I recommend the first 3 levels of going rogue, and at level 4 you have the option between rogue or shadow or monk, and then again at level 5 you're going to be respecing into full monk. So really, you start out as a rogue with this build, so you can even pick Astarion as he is and continue with him. They would be the stats, but it's not that big of a deal early on. And then you're going to be continuing as a monk. You're going to be getting 2 levels in Warlock for the Devil's side, but you're going to be replacing that with an item. So you're going to drop those levels as soon as you hit level 9. Those levels as soon as you hit level 9, and then you're going to go 3 Rogue, 6 Monk, and then there are some variations at the end of that. So we're going to go through that as well. So very, very quick. You pick Strength, Dexterity, Constitution. If you want to skip these guys, I'll put a marker down below. But I would start out with Strength instead of Dexterity if I had the option. And for skills, I would pick Athletic Proficiency, Sleight of Hand Expertise. The Athletics Proficiency is important because it prevents you from being shoved. And since you're going to be Strength primarily focused, then that helps a lot. Then Sleight of Hand will help you be the thief of the party. Stealth is always good. Proficiency in Stealth. Insight is good. And Persuasion is okay if you're ever caught stealing, but you don't really need it. And you have 2 more points to put wherever you want. If you want, you can even put it in Dexterity. If you go down the Strength route, you need to equip the Gloves of Dexterity to have your armor class not suffer. You can get them early in Act 2. And if you go down the Dex build, you should find the Club of Heal Giant Strength will set your Strength to 19, or the Potion of Heal Giant Strength, or the Potion of Heal of Cloud Giant Strength, or the Gauntlets of Heal Giant Strength. There's a lot of items that boost your strength, so just make sure that your strength is high because we're going to be needing it. It's going to boost your damage significantly. Now, again, if you want to go down the Dexterity route, I recommend putting 16 points in it and 15 in Constitution, because when we get the Tavern Brawler feat, we're going to be boosting Constitution or the Strength. You cannot boost Dexterity. So in that situation, I would definitely put the points in the extra point in Constitution. Okay, so let's say that this is what we want to keep. At level 2, you're getting another rogue level, which allows you to use your bonus action to disengage, hide, or dash. At level 3, this is important, you want to take the Thief subclass. I know that Assassin might look tempting, to be honest, and it could work, but since you're going to be playing a class that uses its bonus action to blink, we don't want to be wasting, we want to have that extra bonus action to do the Flurry of Blows. Now in level 4, you can go either as a rogue or as a Shadowmonk. If you go rogue, you definitely need to pick Tavern Brawler, as we talked earlier, and put the point in strength, or constitution if you went down the dexterity route. Make sure your numbers are even. And this will essentially, this is very useful, guys, because it allows you to add your strength modifier twice to the damage and attack rolls. What does this mean? Now, if you imagine this, let's just do some really quick math. Just a quick overview of why this is really important. So let's say that I didn't have Tavern Brawler and I have 17 strength, right? Or 18 strength, sure. So I get to add +4 to from my strength modifier, right? So the bonus here is going to be +4 from my strength modifier and +3 from my proficiency bonus. So that would be +7, right? So if the enemy has an AC of 15, I need to roll an 8 to hit him. So anything greater than a 7, I hit. So I miss on 7 out of 20, therefore 35% of the time. Now if I have Tavern Brawler, I get to add my strength modifier twice on the chance to hit and the damage, but we only care about the to hit now. So instead of getting a +7, I will get a +11. Now, this would mean that my attack would hit if I roll a 4 or higher. So I would only miss 15% of the time. And now, if I'm wearing the heal, if I drink the Heal Giant Strength Potion, now, and I have the Tavern Brawler, again, I'm going to have a modifier of +5. So 5 + 3 is +8. But I get to add 5 twice because I'm a Tavern Brawler, right? So my bonus is going to be +13. So I only miss on a natural 1. And if you can find advantage, which we will be having advantage because we're going to be using darkness in this build, your chance to miss is 5% without having advantage. And it's 1 out of 400 if you don't have advantage, if you do have advantage. So it's going to be almost impossible for you to miss. So at level 4, I would probably pick another level in Rogue. So this is the early game. Now, what I would do in your situation, guys, from level 5 to 8, I would respec, get 5 levels of Monk. We're going to go through the levels of Monk because we're going to be using them later down the line. But I would also get 2 levels of Warlock. Why is this important? Because this would give you Devil's Sight, which will allow you to see in the dark. However, as soon as we get the Everside Ring, which you can get halfway through Act 2, you're not going to be needing the levels in Warlock, and then you would respec at level 9 and go 6 levels of Monk and 3 levels of Rogue and 6 levels of Monk. And then we're going to talk about the end game in a bit. So let's go through the Monk levels real quick. So Monk levels, you get Flurry of Blows, but only 2 key points on level 1. In level 2, you get some abilities that you don't really want to be using apart from the Patient Defense. Patient Defense is very good if you cannot get Darkness done with this build. Level 3, you get Deflect Missiles and you choose your Way of Shadow. Now you're going to be able to cast Pass Without a Trace, which you're not going to really have to do that. You won't have to do that, but you can do it, and it's going to increase your stealth by a lot, but it is concentration. Darkness, again, is useful, but instead of using Darkness, you can use an Arrow of Darkness, which is much better and also does damage. Dark Vision and Silence. Silence I do like. Silence I like a lot, and I'll show you why. And the Minor Illusion Cantrip. Okay, so level 4 Monk, now you have a choice. You can either max out your strength, which I would consider, so you don't have to use potions anymore, or you can also choose to go down the Sentinel route, and now, whenever you hit an enemy with an opportunity attack, they can no longer move. So what happens if somebody is in Darkness or Silence that you cast, or an ally cast, and you're next to them and you snare them? Now they're stuck in the Silence or the Darkness, and they are forced to attack you with a disadvantage, and they can't even see you, so they can't target you with specific spells. If you can cast Silence on an enemy spellcaster, and then walk next to them, they cannot get out of the Silence field, so they cannot cast spells. So they're useless. They're forced to stay there and attack you with your high armor class, right? They're forced to stand there and attack you with their quarterstaff, which they have like +0 or +2 chance to hit, effectively you're just gonna be making them useless. You don't even have to focus them. You can focus somewhere else and just stand around the spellcaster and they just can't do anything. So this is very important. So I would pick it, but again, if you don't want to be using the strength potions, you can just drop this. So this is good to repeat anyway, guys. If you go down the strength build, find the gloves of dexterity and put them on. If you go down the dexterity part, find the club of huge giant strength. This is on the arcane tower in Act 1. Or drink potions of strength, or the heal giant strength gloves down the line. Okay, so this is it. Let's say that you do pick Sentinel in this situation because you're going to be drinking potions and you don't mind. This is unique about what this build can do, because it's very agile and very mobile and can silence enemies. Now, at level 5, you get your stunning strikes. Again, if you didn't put points in wisdom, you're not going to be using them. If you did put points in wisdom, then these are very good. They can effectively help you crowd control a big chunk of enemies. And then you get advantage on all attacks. And also you get your extra attack. Very important. And your Cloak of Shadows. This is not very strong, but it's good when you're sneaking. Monk level 6. You get your most important ability, which is Shadow Step. Now, why do we like Shadow Monks? Because of this ability right here. Yeah, I would argue that Open Palm Monk gets more out of this, but getting Shadow Step makes you so mobile. It makes you very likely and very good at sneaking, at exploring, and you can just maneuver the battlefield very reliably. Now you have 2 levels left, right? So at this point, you would be 3 Rogue, 6 Monk, and then I would get the Rogue level again and get Sentinel. Alternatively, though, if you want to, you can go for 3 levels of Ranger, and if you haven't found any item that prevents blindness, you can just keep your 2 levels of Warlock and you're good for the late game. However, what I would recommend if you want to optimize your combat is get 2 levels of Fighter so that you can get Action Surge. Or you can forgo the Sentinel ability and get 3 levels of Ranger and go for the Gloomstalker subclass, and that would give you bonus to initiative and an extra attack on the first turn. Now, let's just complete the build. If you want to maximize your damage, you should be going for Fighter levels. Now, you can go at level 1, like Respec and go Fighter so that you can get Heavy Armor proficiency. However, it's not a necessity because you get a lot of expertise with the Rogue. So it's up to you. Do you want Heavy Armor or do you want more expertise on the character? It's up to you, and more skills. So it's really up to you. So 2 levels of Fighter will give you a Fighting Style and Action Surge. For Fighting Style, I would probably pick Archery, by the way. We finished with the build, and now let's talk about items. So there's a lot of good items, guys, that work with this build. So this might take a little while. 4 items. Alright, guys. So let's talk about items. So for armors, definitely a good pick is Armor of Agility. Helltask Armor, if you have bad Dexterity, is also a very good option because you are proficient with it no matter what. So you don't even have to pick the Fighter levels. You don't even have to forgo the skills you get from the Rogue level 1. And it also gives you the ability to fly and some sick stuff. Thanks, Gabriel Silva, for subscribing. Now, for helmets. Again, as I talked, Helltask Helmet is very important if you don't have the Ring or the Spear of Shard. Now, if you do have it, if you don't have the rest, this is also very useful because you can fight in Magical Darkness. For cloaks, my favorite one is Shadeslayer Cloak, but you can also go for Cloak of the Weave, Cloak of Protection, or Displacement. They are all very, very good. Alternative options to the mask, the Helltask Helmet, is Dark Justiciar Helmet because it increases your chance for critical hit while obscured. Helmet of Greed, because it gives you an extra bonus action, which is an extra flurry of blows, so it's extra damage. Sarevok's Horned Helmet for the extra crit chance. The Horns of Bracer for the chance to hit, and even higher chance to hit, so you can go up to 20 plus 20 at this point. Or Covered Cowl does a similar thing, to the Dark Justice Helmet, and you can get this in Act 1. Now for boots, evasive shoes are always good. You can't go wrong with them. Blackguard's Reefs will give you long striders, so that's extra movement speed. Bone Spike boots are only good if you're not wearing armor, real armor. So, in my opinion, Spring Step boots are very good. And alternatively, the Speedy Light Feet, when you dash, you gain lightning charges. So this is going to boost your damage slightly. Okay, now for gloves. Now, late game gloves, right, guys, are so much better than gloves of dexterity. So you would have to dump your strength, put points in dexterity, and drink a Cloud Giant potion. So this is how I would do it. I drink this. Okay, now I have a very good chance to hit. And my attacks are doing plus 11 damage, yeah. And now you can equip the Gloves of Soul Catching, which do an extra 1d10 damage. And also increase your constitution, right? Alternatively, if you can't get this, you get this at Raphael's place, by the way. The Gauntlets of Heal Giant Strength are a very good alternative to drinking the Cloud Giant Potion. Or the Helda's Gloves will give you, again, a 1d6 extra damage. It's a little bit worse than the Gloves of Soul Catching. But again, if you can get those and you can't get these, then they work very, very well. So now let's talk about amulets. There's a lot of good amulets. I do love the Subjugation amulet. This is something that will paralyze an enemy, and you can do it efficiently if you have Lack of the Far Realms, very effectively. So there's no reason for you to not wear that. Sentient Amulet, you get this early on, will give you some key points. Face Semblance Amulet will give you advantage on Intelligence, Wisdom, and Charisma saving throws. Again, very, very useful. Amulet of Greater Health, this is great, especially if you plan on concentrating on Silence or Darkness, which you shouldn't be, by the way, on Darkness. But on Silence, it's a possibility. So if you plan on casting Silence and doing the Sentinel shenanigans, this is good. So it would be between Greater Health or Subjugation Amulet, really. Greater Health is very useful, so it's more useful on the characters that are concentrating, so you don't want to be wasting it. You have the Eversight Ring, as we talked about. You want to equip this. Otherwise, you need to change your 2 levels of Fighter into Warlock, right? And then you have the option of Killer Sweetheart or Shadowblade Ring. Now, Shadowblade Ring you can get early in Act 2, and is very useful because you can cast Shadowblade, which deals 2d8. This is useful early on, really, because later on, it's not as good. Well, actually, it does stack with your strength, but Tavern Brawler doesn't work with it. So if you're going to go with weapons, this is good, and it does do alright damage, especially early on. Down the line, if you're drinking a Cloud Giant Strength Potion, this is not very useful. If you go down the Dexterity path, this is very good. And I mean, since we're talking about weapons, Knife of the Undermountain works very well with this build. Alternatively, Orin's weapons are crazy good for any good dexterity character, right? The Club of Heal Giant Strength, early on, we're going to also be wearing that. Or, there's a lot of combinations of what you can do here. It's really up to you. What is good to note about Shadowblade, you get advantage on obscured targets. So even if you don't have darkness and if you're fighting in the shadow, this is very useful. However, what I do like the most is, and what I would be doing early game, I would be wearing a Sentinel Shield and Club of Heal Giant Strength, and I wouldn't be drinking potions and putting points in dexterity. And then down the line, when my strength is high enough, I would just unequip it. You don't really need weapons with this build. So this is what I would recommend. Now, it's really up to you what you want to be doing. There's a lot of good weapons that would work with this build, but your punches are so strong that as soon as you get enough strength and Tavern Brawler, you don't really need weapons. But I would be holding Club of Giant Strength if I went down the Dexterity route and I didn't have enough potions to keep me going. For bows, I recommend either Darkfire Short Bow so that you can cast haste on yourself, but your constitution is kind of low, so you're gonna be easy to knock out. So I don't like it a lot, but it's an option. Bow of Awareness will give you an extra bonus to initiative roll, and the Deadshot will give you an extra. It will reduce your chance to crit well, increase your chance to crit by reducing the number by 1 that you need to roll. So which is very, very, very good. Alternatively, there's something called a Titan String Bow, guys, which adds your strength modifier to attacks. So you can also use that. Now let's go through how combat would look like for you guys. I would always drink a potion of speed, right? Let's say that Myrmidon is my enemy. It's very tempting to cast darkness on the enemy and then shadow step in it. But you know what's better than that? Throwing a darkness arrow. And why is that? Because it also does damage. Right? You see, it did damage, and now I can shadow step in it because I'm not blinded by it. And now in here, I'm a god. In here, all my enemies are blinded, and I'm not. So I have advantage against them, and they don't. And I'm doing a lot of damage, as you saw there. And that was just one bonus action, right? And just because you used an arrow, you have a second extra attack, right? So instead of using your action to lose key points, you just lost an arrow. Yeah, it's a consumable, but it's very easy to find in the game, right? You can buy them very cheaply from vendors as well. And now you can also do an extra attack. And if you wanted to really, you could even throw a concentration breaking arrow and silence the enemy for free, right? So you don't have to cast silence or darkness with this build. So if I do stunning strike on my enemy, there's a chance they're just stunned. And then, yeah, they take a lot of damage. As you can see, the attacks do quite a bit of damage. And I can stun them. And now he doesn't have a turn. Then I get to heal as well from the Gloves of Soul Catch. So this is how your average combat turn would work like. Okay. So I've equipped the items on Astarion. Now let's take him out for a spin. Alright, so let's look at what the average turn would look like playing this build. So we only have the Elixir of Bloodlust on. Again, we're losing a little bit of damage because we're not going down the Elixir of Cloud Giant Strength. So it's about 8 less damage with every attack that we're doing. So we have one Mind Flare over here. We can choose to attack. Now we can use our action to do the Ascendant Bind, which will make us happy. This will do significantly less damage than one of our Flurry of Blows, as you can see. So what we can do right now is give him a couple more punches. Okay, one punch was enough. And we can also shoot an arrow. And what arrow do we like the most? Darkness arrow. That's right. Very high chance to hit. See, it deals a lot of damage. And now we can shadow step inside. Now we can shadow step inside our darkness. And he's blinded, we're not. And lay on him. Lay at him. We do with advantage. As you can see, 99 chance to hit. Yeah, that's all we took. That's all it took, 2 attacks. And we have even more attacks, so we can even... Yeah, and this is the average turn without a potion of speed, without anything, without being hasted. That's just what we can do in one turn. And this is quite strong, I would say. So this is what you would expect to be able to do in combat. Shoot arrows, teleport to them, or even shoot transportation arrows if you want to. But thank you guys for watching. If you enjoy the content, drop a like, subscribe to the channel. There's a lot more I want to do. Guys, if you want to see more of it, like and subscribe, and comment Darkness Party in the comments to make a party that fully relies around darkness. So if you guys are interested in that and you want to see me make builds about that, drop a comment, Darkness Party in the comments, and I'll make sure to do that. Thank you for watching, guys.